Good morning, students. This is your last topic from the unit number 4, which is related to metabolism. So, before we actually start with carbohydrate metabolism, we need to first understand the meaning of catabolism and anabolism. So, the literal meaning of catabolism is breakdown. Something is broken. Okay, and the meaning of anabolism means synthesis takes place, something gets synthesized. Okay, so whenever there is a breakdown, the energy gets released, the bonds are broken down, and as and when the bonds are broken down, the energy gets released. And basically it's an oxidation reaction, oxygen is involved. Okay, and it results in energy low state. ATP to ADP ratio, if you go to see, it will be very less, the ratio decreases. Okay, whereas in case of anabolism, since it's a synthesis, meaning something gets synthesized, bits by bits, all those bits, they are collected together, and a molecule gets synthesized. So for that purpose, energy is utilized, energy in the form of ATP, okay, or any other form is utilized. Here there is a reduction, and the state which is found is an energy rich state, and NADH to NAD ratio is found to be very high in case of anabolism. Okay, so these above ratios, meaning ATP to ADP ratio and NADH to NAD ratio, will decide when a cell has to undergo a catabolic process or when a cell has to undergo an anabolic process. And remember one thing, that both these processes in one single cell will not occur simultaneously. That means, say suppose a cell is undergoing anabolism, that same cell will not undergo catabolism at the same time. Only one particular reaction will occur one at a time. Okay, either only catabolism will occur or only anabolism will occur. Now let us see the examples of catabolic reaction. So one of the example which we are going to study now is the glycolysis. So besides glycolysis, we have TCA cycle. TCA stands for tricarboxylic acid cycle, which you all must have learned as citric acid cycle. Okay, beta oxidation of fatty acids. Then there is hexose monophosphate pathway, or we also call it as HMP shunt. There is glycogenolysis. Glycogenolysis meaning the breakdown of glycogen, which gives us glucose. So all these processes are catabolic processes. So something gets broken down, and that something is nothing but the biomolecules. They undergo the catabolic process. In case of anabolic reactions include cholesterol synthesis, amino acid synthesis, glycogenesis meaning synthesis of glycogen. So this was all about the anabolic and catabolic process. Now coming to the very important reaction, that is glycolysis. The salient features of this glycolysis process. Now this glycolysis occurs in all cells of the body. There are millions and trillions of cells in our body. All cells will carry out glycolysis. Now the enzymes which are required for carrying out the glycolysis process, they are found in the cytosol of the cell. Now what is the cytosol? What is the meaning of a cytosol? Cytosol is nothing but the interior region of a cell which has all the organelles, right? So that liquidy portion which is there, that is the cytosol. Now what is the meaning of glycolysis? Glycolysis meaning breakdown of glucose. Okay, it's a combination of two words, glyco plus lysis. Here glyco stands for glucose. There is breakdown of this glucose, and when glucose is broken down, one molecule of glucose is converted to two molecules of pyruvate. This is the definition for glycolysis. What is glycolysis? Glycolysis is a process wherein glucose is broken down, and there is a conversion of one molecule of glucose to two molecules of pyruvate. Okay, and it's a universal pathway. It's found in all the living cells, right from bacteria to the humans, you will find glycolysis taking place, and same way the glycolysis occurs. So this particular process was discovered by Embden and Meyerhoff. It is also known as Embden-Meyerhoff pathway, and this particular glycolysis process can operate in aerobic mode as well as in anaerobic mode. Students, please note down that this is the only pathway which can occur in aerobic as well as in anaerobic mode. Okay, now we will see what are the products under the aerobic mode and what are the products under anaerobic mode. Okay, so the products which get formed under aerobic mode is pyruvate. Later, this pyruvate is broken down into carbon dioxide and water, whereas in case of anaerobic pathway, the final product, the glucose, is broken down to lactate. So lactate is the final product in case of anaerobic pathway. It is an oxidative pathway. So generally glycolysis is an oxidative pathway. Why? Because it's a catabolic reaction, so oxygen is involved, bonds are broken down. Now the main purpose of carrying out glycolysis is to generate ATP and NADH. Fine. Glycolysis is very essential for brain. 80%, okay, it's dependent on glucose for energy. Our brain is dependent on glucose for energy, and 80% of the energy is obtained from glucose by the brain. So the net reaction is glucose with the help of 2 ADP plus 2 molecules of inorganic phosphate gives us 2 lactate and 2 molecules of ATP. Now before we actually start with the process of glycolysis, there are certain things which you need to have a look. You need to remember these things. So what is the meaning of this delta G when it is negative? Delta G when it is negative, we say that the reaction is spontaneous. That means there is no need of energy, no need of ATP is required for a reaction to complete. Wherein when delta G is positive, in this case we say that the reaction is non-spontaneous. That means if we want the reaction to be spontaneous, we need to make use of energy in the form of ATP. You will find the arrows like this in the entire reaction of glycolysis. So what is the meaning of this? This stands for that the reaction is irreversible reaction. Okay, reaction will proceed only in forward direction. That is the meaning of this. That's a reaction is irreversible. You cannot reverse the reaction. Whereas this type of symbols, this type of arrows will indicate that the reaction is a reversible reaction, meaning both forward can be converted to backward, backward can be converted to forward reaction. You will also find a term Km. What is the definition for Km? Km stands for an affinity of enzyme for a given substrate. Okay, meaning how well or how quickly a substrate can bind to an enzyme. That is the meaning of Km. So if Km is high, the Km value is very high, that means the affinity is very less. So Km value is basically inversely proportional to the affinity of an enzyme. That means if Km value is high, that means the affinity of an enzyme for a given substrate is very less. That means what? That means a particular enzyme will bind to a given substrate only when the concentration of substrate is very high. Okay, this substrate, if you want it to bind to an enzyme, the concentration of substrate should be very, very high. Only then the enzyme will detect the substrate. Whereas in this case, when we say that Km value is very less, that means affinity of enzyme for a given substrate is very high. That means even if the substrate is in very less concentration, if say suppose it's in picogram also, okay, enzyme will immediately detect that particular substrate and the substrate will bind to an enzyme. Okay, so that is the meaning of this Km value high and Km value low. Now we will start with the glycolysis process. Okay, So as you can see over here, imagine that this is the membrane. Okay, this is a cell, and this particular thing, the double layer, what these two lines, you can consider this as a membrane of a cell, and inside this portion you can consider it as a cytosol of the cell. Okay, so on the membrane you will find there are what are known as GLUT transporters. These GLUT transporters are nothing but they are the transporters which will allow the entry of glucose inside the cell. Fine? Yes? Okay. So glucose, okay, will enter through the GLUT transporter inside the cell. Once glucose enters inside the cell, we have seen that the enzymes for glycolysis are found inside the cytosol, right? So this glucose, the moment glucose enters inside into the cell, there is an enzyme, the first enzyme which will carry out the first reaction of glycolysis, and the name of the enzyme is hexokinase. Fine. This hexokinase, if you go to see its Km value, the Km value of this enzyme is 0.01 molar, and it's very less. Okay, and we have already seen just now that if the Km value is less, definitely the affinity of the enzyme for a substrate will be very, very high. That means the moment glucose enters inside into the cell, whatever may be the concentration of glucose, okay, the moment glucose enters inside the cell, hexokinase will immediately detect this glucose, and glucose will bind to the enzyme hexokinase. Fine. Hexokinase also requires one cofactor, that is Mg+2 ion. It's a divalent cation. Fine. So when hexokinase reacts with glucose, meaning when this enzyme binds to its substrate, it converts glucose into glucose 6-phosphate. Okay, and for this conversion, for converting glucose to glucose 6-phosphate, ATP acts as a phosphate donor. Fine. So delta G value you can find over here has -4 kilocalories per mole. So the reaction which is there is spontaneous reaction which is taking place. Fine. So this is the first reaction. So I am repeating the first reaction again. The first reaction is glucose gets converted to glucose 6-phosphate with the help of enzyme hexokinase. Okay, with the help of again one ATP molecule. So ATP gets converted to ADP. Now this particular reaction, okay, is an irreversible reaction. Understood? This particular reaction is an irreversible reaction. Once glucose gets converted to glucose 6-phosphate, you cannot convert glucose 6-phosphate back to glucose. No. Now this glucose 6-phosphate has to undergo the glycolysis process.